watching the It's Her Time podcast with Cody and Jess. Hi, welcome back to the It's Her Time podcast. My name is Cody Sanders, and I'm a holistic health practitioner and functional nutritionist. Now, it is surprising that for as long as we've had birth control available to women, there is still so much we don't know about how it impacts our body, our relationships, and our overall life. You may be familiar with some of the side effects of hormonal birth control, like depression or blood clots and weight gain. You might also know that birth control pills, which are often prescribed for things other than contraception, like irregular periods or like acne, aren't the best solution for managing symptoms. In fact, the pill ultimately makes symptoms like acne worse. But hormonal birth control has other more far-reaching consequences. Specifically, taking the pill can wreak havoc on your love life. I know that probably sounds far out or completely made up, but the idea that hormonal birth control has real consequences for your love life comes directly from scientific research that I can't wait to dive into with you today. But before we dive into this episode, let's join Jess for a Mixers Girls Say.
For today's Mixers Girls Say, we're going to read through actually some of our actual customers' testimonials. We know that with 2024 being underway, our focus has been routine over resolution. And these are customers that have been trusting Mixers with their health and are seeing the benefits. So this is Bailey.
Okay.
She says,
Bailey.
my 14-year-old daughter. Oh, I'm so sorry. This one's Emily. So
Emily.
sorry.
Emily.
Hi, Emily. My 14-year-old daughter has had ongoing menstruation issues with painful cramping that has her crying and calling to come home from school at least one day every single cycle. We've tried everything short of birth control. We heard great things from friends about mixers and figured it was our last resort before putting her on birth control. I have no clue what science is behind mixers, but it's been a total game changer for my daughter, and she's only been taking them for 2 months. No more crying and ongoing complaints the last 2 periods. I'm completely amazed. She actually drinks it on her own without prompting because she knows what she recognizes the difference and doesn't want to slide back into having the pain. Signing up for a subscription today.
Oh, I love that. You know, it was my daughter that had such terrible periods during her teenage years that really motivated me to create Her Time. And so I'm so grateful now that there is a solution for these young girls, because too many girls are turning to birth control because that's what's commonly given as the solution to all of these terrible symptoms that all of us girls, no matter what age or stage of life we're in, are suffering with. But birth control, I can't say this enough, it never helps heal the hormonal imbalance that's causing these symptoms. It just shuts the hormones down. So it does give temporary relief, but these young girls, they don't realize the long-term consequences that can come. So I used to work with girls as young as 12, 13, 14 that were on birth control. There was absolutely no need for them to be on it. And it really, really caused some issues for them as they started going into their 20s. And especially when they wanted to maybe start trying to conceive and things like that. So just be educated and know that birth control isn't an option. Her Time is absolutely an all natural and very safe. And it actually addresses the root cause of why we suffer from a lot of these period symptoms anyways.
Yeah. So this one is now from Bailey. 5-star review. Prior to taking Her Time, I had always had serious cramps that would lead me to throwing up. Since I started taking Her Time, I have had very minimal cramps. I could not be more happy with this product.
Yay.
Amen. Amen. The last one. I have lived with PMDD for 28 years. Acne, fatigue, irregular cycles, and period flu symptoms are something I struggle with for 10 days before menstruation. I've been searching for natural and plant-based ways to balance my hormones. I've completed 1 cycle on Mixer's Her Time and already noticed a dramatic improvement. Whereas these symptoms used to last 7 to 10 days before menstruation, this time I only had 1 day of fatigue and mild irritability. I have been very regimented in taking it every day after breakfast. It tastes great too. I plan to continue this as it's an easy and tasty addition to my diet and supplements. That's from Kristen K.
I love that.
We love it. Way to go, Kristen.
I know,
Thanks
Kristen.
for trusting Mixers with your health.
Amazing. I am so glad after 28 years that you found some relief, because that's some serious stuff to be dealing with.
Yep. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the episode.
Mixers is a company made for women by women. Each of our products have been carefully and lovingly crafted to support you in all stages of your life, providing you with the optimal health you deserve. Each ingredient we handpick is 100% all natural, backed by science, and chosen specifically to better your life physically, mentally, and hormonally. Each product empowers your body to take charge of its monthly hormonal shift and flows, empowering you to live life to the fullest. Let Mixers take care of your needs from sunup to sundown, and you take care of the rest. Check us out at mixers.com, MIXHERS.
Okay, ladies, I'm going to start by sharing about the research that is out there currently. And first things first, research has shown that hormonal birth control can affect who women are attracted to and who they seek out as partners, because hormonal birth control stops ovulation, which is the primary mechanism for pregnancy prevention. And it alters the natural hormone state of a woman. So a woman's behavior can be altered and she may be attracted to a different type of partner. Now, when you think about it closely, it actually makes a lot of sense. The pill absolutely messes with hormone production and balance by introducing a stream of synthetic hormones to our systems. And because hormones impact how we perceive other people and how other people perceive us, it stands to reason that our interactions with everyone, and specifically romantic partners, would be tipped sideways by a steady stream of synthetic hormones. In other words, hormones help us interact with the world. So when we introduce a whole new set of hormones to our delicate bodies, it can shift our desires and our perceptions on a fundamental biochemical level and have far-reaching romantic consequences. While birth control has been revolutionary in so many ways to women's lives, it has also become a medical intervention that is considered too taboo to even question. Anytime I ever dare to even question whether birth control is a good idea or not, I get a lot of angry DMs. In fact, some have even gone so far as to say it is anti-woman to question birth control. And yet, from my perspective, I have to just say I disagree. Now, you know me. My goal is to be an advocate for you and your health. As women, we should be provided with the information that we need to make an informed decision about any medical intervention. While we can be grateful for the benefits birth control brings, we can also be curious and question its larger and its lesser known impacts. So let's talk about how birth control may affect who you are attracted to, okay? Now, hormonal birth control alters the intricate hormonal chemistry of the body with the intention of suppressing ovulation in order to prevent pregnancy. This alteration may result in changes in behavior and who we are attracted to. It is not to say that we should all avoid birth control, but rather we should just be informed about the many ways it can impact our life. It also is so important to talk about all of this. Now, studies have demonstrated that birth control may influence mate selection. If you require birth control for pregnancy prevention or management of a medical condition, then the benefits for you may very well outweigh the potential side effects that come along with it. Now, this research should prompt us to ask more questions about how birth control may influence us overall. So let's talk about 6 of the ways that I can think of that the pill might be messing with our love life. The first thing I want to mention is that what it does is it decreases our preference for male facial masculinity. Now, there was a study that was done in the Journal of Psychoneuroendocrinology. It showed that women on birth control were found to choose a male partner that had more feminine features, which I think is so interesting. Now, the number 2 thing that I could think of is that birth control pills suppress women's mid-cycle estrogen surge. Now, research has found that women's levels of the sex hormone estrogen, what it does is it predicts their preference for masculine-looking male faces. And now number 3 is that preference for mates more genetically similar to us when based on a scent. Now, let me explain this a little bit more. There have been multiple studies demonstrated that show that there's an altered preference for a mate based on whatever they smell like. Our genetics, which is known as our MHC complex specifically, influence our scent. And we are primed to be attracted to men who are genetically dissimilar to us, which lowers the chance of things like miscarriage, and it increases the likelihood of having a very healthy and happy baby. And the more genetically different that we are, It also tends to make for more satisfying sex and also happier relationships. So if you are on the pill, you may be more likely to gravitate toward a mate who smells like you, possibly because the pill stimulates pregnancy, and pregnant women are drawn towards nurturing and supporting biological relatives or folks who smell like them. In this way, the pill kind of acts like an anti-Cupid, steering you away from your ideal romantic match. And by the way, you become less attractive to a potential mate as well. There's what's known as pheromones, and they're chemical messengers that our body releases. And research shows that women's pheromones can quite literally cast a spell over men when it comes to romance. Pheromones act as a sort of like love potion when they are released. They increase a person's attraction to a woman. But studies show that the pill stops production of these attraction-enhancing pheromones, and that might have negative consequences for your romantic or your sexual life. It may make your attraction to your current partner disappear, which sounds horrible, right? If you start a relationship when you're on the pill, then you may find when you do decide to come off that you're no longer attracted to your partner. One study found that unless your mate is considered conventionally good looking by evolutionary standards, you may then find them unattractive after you quit taking hormonal birth control. Okay, the fourth thing that I could find that these studies were showing is that birth control effects choosing your partner on while you are on the pill may result in less long-term attraction and sexual satisfaction. In a study of over 2,000 women with at least one child, with half being on the pill when they met their partner, it was concluded that use of hormonal contraception may contribute to relationship outcome with implications for human reproductive behavior, family cohesion, and quality of life. The number 5 thing is that women using hormonal birth control may preferentially select a mate based more on financial stability than based on attraction. When compared with naturally cycling women, pill-taking women exhibit less activity in the reward centers of the brain when looking at masculine faces, but more activity happened in the brain, in these centers of the brain, when they were looking at money. Number 6 is that women on the pill may be more likely to initiate divorce. Now, some studies have found that when women taking the pill do get divorced, they are more likely to be the one that initiates it. But when women choose their partners when on the pill, they are less likely to get divorced. So will birth control cause you to get a divorce? I would say that this is unlikely and a big maybe at this point. Why people decide to divorce is very complex, and I do not think it can be reduced simply to whether or not birth control was in the mix. But the studies are a little fascinating, and I love to share them just because it gives us a lot to think about. Now, this can all sound super crazy. I mean, I'm guessing that you have never seen anything that says may impact your choice of sex and dating partners listed as a possible side effect on the informational insert that came along with your pack of birth controls. But all of the stuff that we've just talked about is just the tip of the iceberg. The birth control pill and the law of unintended consequences. That's what we're going to talk about now. Now, most women go on the birth control pill as a means of achieving some sort of targeted objective, like pregnancy prevention, or sometimes period regulation, or to clear up their skin. Unfortunately, sex hormones can't work that way. So if you are on the pill, you actually don't have a period. You have what's known as a pseudo period that is caused by the sudden hormonal crash that occurs when you transition from your active pills to the sugar pills. Now, there are some things other things to consider as well. And so I want to talk about a few. It's important to know that birth control affects more than just your ovaries. Let me explain. When sex hormones are released into the body, or when artificial sex hormones are taken in the form of the birth control pill, they get released into the bloodstream and travel throughout the entire body like a broadcast message over a loudspeaker. They are then able to get picked up by each of the cells in the body that have receptors for those hormones, making the effects of the hormones in the birth control just about as non-targeted as a person could possibly get. So taking the pill as a means of avoiding pregnancy or clearing your skin will get you the effects that you are looking for, but it's also going to get you a whole bunch of other effects too. It's going to change the activity of all of the cells in your body with sex hormone receptors, echoing throughout your body from your head to your toe, especially the brain. So yes, birth control absolutely changes our brain function. Now, although there are sex hormone receptors on cells throughout the human body, there are few organs in the body that have more receptors for sex hormones than the brain. Now, your brain, that super important CEO of everything that makes you, you, is full of receptors for sex hormones. There they play a role in influencing things like attraction and sexual motivation, stress, hunger, eating patterns, emotional regulation, friendships, aggression, mood, learning, and just so much more. This means that being on the birth control pill makes women a different version of themselves than when they are off of it. Now, let's talk about how the pill affects our stress levels. Now, the pill, by changing the activities of women's sex hormones, has the ability to impact women's stress response, also their moods and their desire for sex, their sexual response, their ability to learn and to remember things, their feelings of sexiness and vibrancy, their attunement even to art and music and dance, and pretty much everything else you can imagine. For example, research finds that women on the pill have a messed up cortisol response to stress. And it's not just a little bit messed up, it's way messed up. When comparing pill-taking women to naturally cycling women, sometimes the researchers find that pill-taking women have a blunted cortisol response to stress. Sometimes pill takers have no cortisol response to stress. And sometimes, as was found in one recent study, levels of cortisol actually decreased in response to stress, which doesn't make any sense at all. And the research shows that this isn't just a matter of pill takers being more poised under pressure. Pill takers also don't exhibit much of an HPA axis response to the stress-inducing drug, things like naltrexone or strenuous exercise, both of which regularly elicit a strong HPA axis response in most healthy adults. Now, the pill has changed the world by changing what women's brains do. The pill changes women. And by changing what women do, the pill has changed the world for good and for bad. And I'm not going to be all doom and gloom about birth control. I can see the benefit of it too. And I want to talk about some of the things that I see as a positive when it comes to birth control pills. The world is a different place because of the birth control pill. Think for a minute how different the world would be if the pill never came on the scene. The pill has changed the way that women think about the consequences of sex. And as a result, we have all been able to maybe dream a little bit bigger, granting women the ability to have sex without having to worry about rushing into marriage or parenthood has really allowed them to focus on educating themselves and building careers while they're starting a family or before they start a family. And this has been hugely important in terms of allowing women the opportunity to achieve some of their goals. But perhaps maybe even more importantly than that, the pill has allowed women for the very first time in history to actually plan, right? Knowing that the odds of an unplanned pregnancy are effectively zero has removed from women's dreams about their future a powerful storm cloud that was most likely always present for our college-bound grandmas and great-grandmas. For them, there was always the very real possibility that any plans they made would be laid to dust by an unplanned pregnancy. The pill changed the game for women by allowing them to feel confident that their training or their schooling wouldn't be cut short by an unexpected pregnancy. And their response to this change was overwhelming. Now, before 1970, almost no women were going into careers requiring a postgraduate education. All of that changed, however, precisely at the time in our nation's history when the pill became legally available to single women. This happened in the late 60s and early 70s. Now, as soon as women felt in control of their fertility and knew that they wouldn't get benched mid-education due to pregnancy, then their applications to postgraduate degree programs it skyrocketed. And although the surge of women in these fields was also helped by decreasing sexism in the admissions process, the biggest driver of these effects was actually the huge surge in the number of female applicants they were applying. When it is possible for women, they do. We see that time and time again. Now, I would say that most women responded to the freedom granted to them by the pill, not by becoming more irresponsible and reckless in their lives, but by becoming more educated and being more inclined to contribute to fields like law and medicine, science, government, and business. And even though you and I take this sort of thing for granted sometimes, it hasn't always been easy for women to dream this big. Now, some of the most brilliant scientists I know, scientists who are doing things like discovering new ways to treat cancer and help prevent diseases of aging, are women. And just 50 years ago, many of these brilliant women probably would have been sidelined because the demands of childbearing would have made their extensive education and training nearly impossible. The pill has opened up a huge new pool of talent to help solve some of the world's most vexing problems. And if vexing problems aren't your thing, think for a moment about all of the amazing women who have touched your own life. Maybe it was a teacher or a professor who was meaningful in shaping your career goals. Or maybe it was a doctor or a nurse who made you feel comforted when you were sick or you were afraid. Think about all of the amazing, brilliant, funny, empathetic women whose voices would have been quieted and whose contributions we would be without if we didn't have a reliable means of pregnancy prevention. So we should all be thankful to be at a place in time where we all get to benefit from these women's ambitions. The world would be a much different, less brilliant place if these women were able to have more control when it came to their fertility in a more reliable way. So the pill has changed the world by making women more present in the educational sphere and in the workplace. And there are probably a countless number of specific achievements, technologies developed, cures discovered, people helped that we owe to the birth control pill. And the world has changed as a result. Now, my hope in this episode is that this episode has taken an even-handed, science-based look at who women are, both on and off the pill. I would love there to be a change in the way that women think about their hormones and how they view themselves. It also serves as a rallying cry for women to demand more information from science about how their bodies and brains work and to advocate for better research. As women, we all deserve better information out there to help us make more informed decisions about our own health and about whether or not we should be on the pill or off of it. Now, thank you again for tuning in to episodes each and every single week. I appreciate all of you loyal listeners. We have such an amazing bunch here. Thank you so much for leaving us ratings and reviews and for giving us a thumbs up on YouTube. It really does help us feel connected to you, and it helps us know what you like about our show so that we can keep creating content that you find valuable. It also helps our community to grow, and I love seeing it do just that. All right, ladies, until next week, I hope you have a very happy and healthy week. Bye.